Alright, today we're going to talk about what an integer is. So first let's go back to when you're first learning about numbers. And you started to learn to count. So you started counting, you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And so that was fairly young in your life. And then somewhere along the line you learned there's a number before 1, and that is 0. Now when you were first learning to count, you didn't include 0, but it was always there. And it just took you a little while to figure out that 0 becomes before 1. Well, if you notice, our number line here goes to the left as well as to the right. So we have numbers opposite all of our counting numbers. And the opposite of all our counting numbers are negative numbers. So you have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So that is all that an integer is. It's your counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, and all the opposite of your counting numbers. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So if I was to say, or put a dot on 3, and I wanted to know its opposite, the opposite would just be the same distance from 0 in a negative direction. So the opposite of 3 would be -3. So if I had a dot at this red dot at -5, the opposite of -5 would be 5. Alright, the next thing you need to know is absolute value. And you'll see absolute value, it's represented by two lines straightened up and down with a number in the middle. So the absolute value of -8, and then we'll do the absolute value of, we'll just do 8. So this is how I explain absolute value. So here I am at my house, and I'm going to run my son to school. That'll be my stroller. Alright, so his school's over here. And so I'm going to run all the way to school. Drop him off, and then run all the way back home to work. So I ran 2 miles to get there, and then I ran 2 miles to get home. So in all, I ran 4 miles. Even though I ran the opposite direction, I didn't run a negative amount of miles. So when I got home, I hadn't run 0 miles. I had run 4 miles. And that's the easiest way for me to explain how absolute value works. Absolute value is the distance something travels. And distance can't be negative. You can't run a negative distance. So when we're talking about absolute value, it's always distance from 0. So if you look at that -8, how far is -8 from 0? It is 8 places from 0. So the absolute value of -8 is 8. Well, if you look at the absolute value of 8, it is also 8 places from 0. So the absolute value of 8 is also 8. So anytime you have absolute value, it's just asking you how far it is from 0. And you'll also notice that the absolute value of -8 and the absolute value of 8 both have the same answer. They're both 8 because they're both 8 units from 0. So an absolute value answer could have two different problems. It could be the absolute value of 8 or the absolute value of -8. Both of those are going to give you an answer of 8.